Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rosy Recap. Unfortunately, Bracken cannot join us today, but we might have someone even better, despite your opinion. He might be mad I say that, but we are joined by Jill Chen from this past season of The Bachelor. Jill, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited to get to know you more because I feel like we didn't get to know you super well on The Bachelor. So if you just want to begin by telling us about yourself, who you are, where you're from.
Okay, so I am an architectural historian. Oh my God, there's literally these buzzes.
That's so funny.
Okay, anyways, I'm an architectural historian. I am from Scituate, Rhode Island, my hometown. So yeah, born and raised in Rhode Island. I'm 26, and yeah, I'm just living life as an architectural historian.
What is an architectural historian?
Great question. So glad you asked. Yeah, everyone's like, it's a fake job. Yeah, everyone just thinks I'm like a tour guide, which I was. But no, I am. So basically, I work in like a subset called cultural resource management. And so what we do is we evaluate cultural resources for towns, for states, for private entities, whatever it may be. So I basically do a lot of research on above ground resources. So that could be anything from buildings, stone walls, monuments, anything above ground. And I do research throughout, from the time as early as I can go up into the present. And so that just kind of helps these entities kind of realize what cultural resources they're impacting. I know it doesn't sound like the sexiest thing ever. It's definitely so like, wah, wah, wah. But I get to go to a lot of really cool places, do a lot of really fun field work, and see things that a lot of people don't get to see. So
that does sound cool. Do you get to travel a lot for that, or do you mostly just stay in Rhode Island?
No, we get to travel a decent amount.
It's so cool.
Which is really good. Mostly, it's obviously our base is more in New England, and that's where my specialty is, I guess, in New England architecture. But also I did two weeks of field work in the Blue Ridge Parkway. So that was, I had to drive from Rhode Island to Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we did that twice. That was really fun. We do work on the Appalachian Trail, a lot of Park Service stuff. So it's really, really cool. And I can't wait for the summer because we do a bunch of islands. And so we get to go on these little boats, and oh my God, it's so fun. Yeah, so definitely a dream job for sure.
Yeah. How did you even think about getting into that field?
Yeah, so I always refer back to the story of when I realized I really liked history. And I guess it was when I was on a field trip with the Girl Scouts. And so we went to a museum, and it was this little tiny natural history museum, and I was just so obsessed. Yeah. So originally I went to school I wanted to do museum studies, or I wanted to do just straight up anthropology or archaeology so I could work in a museum as a curator. But then I went to school in Newport, Rhode Island. So obviously there's so much amazing architecture, and so I had to take a historic preservation class in order to fulfill some credits, and I just ended up falling in love with that and just going that route. So, and then I did give tours at the mansions and all of that.
Nice.
So yeah, I definitely just kind of fell into it, but architecture is truly my love.
Yeah, that's really cool. It seems like a really interesting kind of field that I don't really know anything about.
I know a lot of people. I work in an archaeology lab, and everyone's thinks that's the coolest thing. Yeah. So everyone's you're Indiana Jones. I'm not.
No. Sadly, very less intense Indiana Jones.
Way less intense. Yeah. But it's definitely a dream job, but I don't dream of labor. I don't think many people do.
Yeah. So how do you go from being an architectural historian to then going on The Bachelor?
Bachelor contestant, yeah. Yes. The architectural historian to Bachelor contestant pipeline is very slim. Yeah. So I got out of a long-term relationship early last year, and during that kind of after COVID spiked a lot after the holidays, I was okay, well, what am I going to do? Let's watch The Bachelor. I had never seen it before, and I was seeing clips online. of like all the drama between like Victoria L and Anna Redmond. And I was like, this is like, you've piqued my interest. So I started watching The Bachelor. Matt James' season was the first season that I watched.
Oh, so
And
cool.
I know. And so like literally if I think back a year ago, like if I think I would be here and have done this right now, like absolutely no way. So I got out of a relationship, and then I was in Asheville, North Carolina, just like in a hotel room after a long day at work. And I was like, I'm lonely, I'm sad, I want to go, I want to do something like for myself. Like, what can I do? And then I applied, but I never thought that it would actually happen. Like, who thinks that's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Like, it was literally just like a shot in the dark. I was just like rattled off like one sentence and a photo of myself, and then the rest is history. Now I find myself here.
That's so cool. I've talked to a few people who have either made it on the show or have gotten like the callback, and they're like, it just was so random. Like, you think, how could I get selected? But I mean, hey, they got to pick something.
I know. The whole time I was like, there's no way this is happening. Like, I kept getting calls. I was like, all right, like the next time I'm gonna be done. Like, there's no way. And then it just happened that way, and I'm very lucky.
For this season, was the casting process still mostly online, or did you get to go in person for interviews?
It was mostly online. I think that most of it is like mostly online.
Yeah, that's gotta be really nerve-wracking, just like waiting and hoping.
I know, it was really nerve-wracking because it was just like this thing, and I couldn't tell anybody about it. That was just like in the back of my head, and I just had to like continue to go on like my normal life, pretending that this isn't happening.
When you applied, did you know it was going to be Clayton?
No, we didn't know it was going to be Clayton until everyone else found out it was going to be Clayton. So that was like a week before filming. So we had no idea who it was. We could still, obviously, if we didn't feel like we would connect with him, we could say no, but I was definitely willing to give it a shot. Because I hadn't seen anything about him. I just saw his picture. I'm like, oh my God, he's so cute. And then I saw that one video of him in his little hometown. And like after they announced that he was a Bachelor, and that's it. So we all went in super blind.
Yes, because Michelle's season was airing while you guys were filming.
Yes.
Yeah,
we didn't see anything of that until we got out.
That could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, you know?
I know, that's what I was saying. I was like, oh my God, this guy must be like so special because like they picked him out of the blue. Like, this is going to be amazing. So yeah, I trusted the producers, and I trusted kind of the process.
When you got back from filming and you saw all the backlash of Clayton being picked, how did that make you feel? Were you confused?
Gosh, it was interesting because like I had an image of him, like a specific image of him that I saw in the house and during my time there. And then I don't know, I always feel like it's so hard because I hate getting hate online. It's the worst. And so I really felt for him, and I was just like, give him a chance, you know, like full knowing like what happens during the season, but I still think that everybody deserves kind of grace and to go through their own. So I definitely was, I guess I wasn't shocked because the viewers have very much like we want this, and if we don't get this, and like we're done. It's like, the fan base is fantastic, but they're intense. So I wasn't terribly shocked, but it was definitely interesting to go through after like living in the house and then coming back.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be really jarring to go in not knowing anything and then coming out of this bubble and just seeing so much.
Truly a bubble. Negativity. It was definitely, it was definitely culture shock. That's how like I always kind of like refer to it as.
I bet. So I guess getting into you on the show, you had a very unique limo exit. How did that idea formulate?
Okay, so this is so bizarre, but I do love walking around cemeteries. And partially because like I've spent a lot of time in cemeteries for my job. So I know like I'm so interested in like the artistic piece of the gravestones and all of that. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's so emo, that's so weird. It's very peaceful. There's no one that's like hardly anyone's ever there. It's just like lovely, especially some around here. They're more like garden cemeteries. So so yeah, I think that was definitely a factor in that. Also, I have tattoos, and I'm a little more like edgy, I guess. And so I was just like, I need to stand out because there's like, I could not talk to him the whole night and that could be bad. And I was really hoping that he would like dark humor. So that's kind of how it evolved.
That's fun. I
A choice.
It was a choice, but it was memorable.
It was so memorable. Right. When I got out, I was like, I did the most cringy shit that I like ever. Like I was just like, oh my God, what have I done? And then it started, they started to tease the limo entrances and I'm like, everyone was like, Jill, what are you doing? But then it got like a lot of, people thought it was funny or whatever. And then a lot of people thought it was real. And a lot of people thought that I actually had ashes. And I'm like, no. I don't just carry around an urn with my ex-boyfriend's ashes. I don't even have any ex-boyfriends who have passed. Thank God. It was just a little goof. It was a little goof.
Yeah. You just were, it was an empty urn.
It was an empty urn. Yeah.
I know. Maybe if you put something like fun in it.
No, I couldn't even open it. I was like I couldn't even open it. I tried.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that first night like for you? Was it really intimidating, exciting, nerve-wracking?
Extremely intimidating. God, I feel like I went in and immediately I went in really confident. I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be amazing. Like whatever. Second I walked into that house and saw everyone, I was just like, I don't belong here. I was like, I don't belong here. I definitely struggle with imposter syndrome. And also it's hard for me to kind of like stand out in a group right away. Like if I'm, my friends will be like, what are you talking about? You're the center of attention. You love that. Right. But it was really hard because I knew absolutely nobody. And I was all like gussied up in this gown. It was just a very like vulnerable place to be and like realize that you're going to have to like go up against these other women. So it was extremely intimidating, but everyone was very lovely. Yeah. Like everyone was so sweet. Except obviously there was like the Claire drama. I love Claire. I'll go to bat for Claire. I think she's cool. But the whole drama, that was annoying. And I didn't get any time night one. So I was like, I'm going home for sure. I'm like, oh, this is just like, I honestly, going into that first rose ceremony, I was like, there's no way. I threatened to put him in my urn. Like, there's absolutely no way that he's going to keep me. So it was definitely nerve-wracking and anxiety-inducing for sure.
Yeah, so what was that like when he finally calls your name?
I was shocked. I was so shocked. I was happy because I thought, obviously, I was so elated that he decided that he wanted to keep me. I was a little confused, honestly, though. There were so many amazing women that went home night one. And so I was just like, why me? Why me? But I think that's like something I have to work on, is just being like, oh, of course, like, you're great and you're funny and blah, blah, So there was a lot of like, oh my God, like this is really happening. I was really, really grateful, but also feeling like confused.
Yeah. I could see how that whole, and it's such a long night.
Oh, it's the longest. I looked so haggard at the end of that night. Like I walked in, I thought I was like giving. I can't even tell you the level at which I thought I was giving. And then by the end of the night, I look at myself and I'm like, whoa, like this person is like a shell of a human.
Oh my gosh. No, I think it's just so exhausting and all those emotions. I don't even know how you guys do it.
It was exhausting. Yeah, I honestly went into the house and I thought, oh my God, I'm just gonna lay by the pool all day. This is gonna be amazing. No, there's just like, you're always doing something and there's always like people to talk to and whatever. So it wasn't as relaxing as I thought it would be.
Yeah, well then going into the first week, like what was it like being on that, first group date you went on?
Okay, so I didn't get a date the first week.
That's right. The next week you did.
Right. Yeah. So after my epic meltdown about my cat, that was the first week. The second week I felt so much pressure because I was like, this is the only time that I'm gonna have with him. Like this week I'm already, behind a lot of the other women who, like Susie already had a one-on-one, and then all these other girls have been on group dates. So I was so nervous, and I kind of went in thinking, oh my God, this is my time to shine. I really have to like let him know who I am. So I was nervous, but I was also like feeling pretty confident. And then of course it was like the vulnerability group date. And I was like, of course, this is like the first group date I go on, is like having to like share my traumas,
Yeah.
like talk about feelings with this guy that I haven't even really talked to. So it was definitely nerve-wracking. But I was feeling confident because I had to. There's really no, that was the only thing I could really cling to, because I didn't have the time before with him.
You didn't get to talk to him the week before at the cocktail party?
I did. I got to talk to him. That was the only time I talked to him. So before the rose ceremony, before the rose ceremony, the second rose ceremony was the first time I got to talk to him.
What did you guys talk about, like the first things? After like
first things,
you've already met so many different women, you know?
Yeah. So I talked about, I was feeling really shy in the house, and I was like feeling very small around like all of these women. And so I was honest with him, and I was like, it's been really hard. I didn't get a date. I made a joke that I was like, oh, you didn't take me on a date because I threatened to put you in my urn. And then, kind of broke the ice. And I was like, no, it was actually like really hard for me. I think like some of it aired, because it's not like I didn't want to like go out of my comfort zone. It was just really hard for me, like in a big group of women, to like stand out. So I was worried that he was going to think that I didn't care. I was just like, hanging around. But it was really very much just like, oh my God, I'm feeling nervous. And like, I was very much in my head.
Yeah.
But he was actually very sweet about it. And we connected on sort of like the emotional piece. So I feel like we kind of got that out of the way really early. And I felt comfortable kind of like opening up to him about things.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like right away there was all this drama. And that would make it really hard to stand out amongst
For sure.
craziness.
It was so crazy. Yeah. It's so I'm so non-confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
And this has definitely taught me to kind of like stick up for myself a little bit. Because I refuse to like stir the pot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stir the pot like behind the scenes, but I'm not just going to go up to somebody and like confront them. So that was really, really hard to kind of navigate all of the drama and then where I lie within all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Took up a lot of time.
A lot of time.
A lot of precious time that I could have used.
Yeah. Have you been able to eat shrimp since leaving the mansion?
So I am a vegan.
Oh.
So I never ate the shrimp. I was not part of Shrimp Gate at all.
That's good.
But no, it's honestly triggering. Hearing the word shrimp, I'm like, no, I can never.
No more shrimp ever.
It was so strange because like when we left the house, like after filming, I was like, people don't know that shrimp is like gonna be a big character this season.
Controversial.
I was like so controversial. And then when it finally happened, it was like, oh, and now everyone's in on our little joke. Like, so bizarre.
That is crazy. Strange. I was like, why are we arguing over shrimp? But
why are we arguing over shrimp? Oh my God. It's still to this day, I'm like, I can't fully understand it.
How was it watching back that kind of drama? Like, you lived it, like firsthand experienced it, and then you watch it back and you see the ITMs and all of that. Like, what is that like for you as someone who knows the people like personally?
Right. It was worse. It was for sure. I learned a lot about the situation and a lot about the people involved watching their interviews. I didn't know, I knew kind of the extent of Shanae talking to Elizabeth and kind of cornering her outside and like, making fun of her ADHD. Like I'd known that it happened, but I didn't know, like, I guess how vicious it was. And I didn't know, I also like wasn't around for Shrimp Gate. I was sleeping in my bed. I was like away from all of it.
Good for you.
So everyone was like, the shrimp. And I'm like, what actually happened with the shrimp? And, when someone tells you like, oh, Elizabeth was in the hot tub and blah, 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 you're just like, okay, that sounds like a non-issue to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely eye-opening because you don't know all of the information.
Right.
And so I had stronger feelings after I watched it back.
Yeah. I can imagine that knowing the people makes it a little bit more different than like us as viewers.
Yeah. And especially because like I've had like relationships with every person that was on the show. We all talk for the most part. And so I felt a little fooled. I felt a little like the wool was like over my eyes because you're one way with the camera and then you're the other way when you're not. So it was strange. I think I know, you probably know who I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you feel like the dates, like that you were on the group dates, were like really different after all that started? Like the vibe, the whole.
Yeah. So the only group date that I went on with Shanae was the football date.
Right.
And obviously it was like we were all taking hits, like literally. I knew there was tension. I mean, obviously our name was the Shrimp Stampede. And, you know, like I looked at the people that was on my team and I looked at the other team. I was like, we're toast.
Yeah.
Like we're totally toast. And so, but during that time, I really felt like I was still rooting for Shanae in some way because I didn't know all of the facts. So I was very much wanting peace in the house. So I was, and she never really did anything bad to me. We had like a decent like relationship. I had reached out to her a couple times being like, I know you're feeling this way. I don't want you to, like, let's try to make this work. So on that group date, since I was on her team, I very much tried to like uplift and be like, we can do this, you know, like, because I really didn't want that time. I want to go to the cocktail party. So yeah, it was strange, but there's always kind of like a weird air, you know, like the vibes, the tension. You could definitely cut it with a knife during those group dates. But you just kind of have to like put that in the back of your mind and worry about it later. But then after watching, I think the hardest one to watch was probably Houston was pretty bad. Having to watch that back after she went to the cocktail party, and like that was just like so shocking. And then what she said in her interviews was really nasty. It was, and I've spoken to her since, and I was like, I can't defend you, sis. Like this was like, that was bad. Like, why are you like that? So yeah.
Now, for a split second, I just have to know, when you see somebody else go crash a cocktail party, do you kind of wish you had that idea to do that? Like, do you kind of wish, like, man, I should have done that? Like, I should have crashed it.
No, because the fallout, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to me. Like, the women, like, okay, was it like the move to do for like if you're trying to like be this like little villain? Sure, that's the move. But I was genuinely trying to get to know him. So I'm like, if I rock up to this cocktail party unannounced, like all the girls are gonna be pissed at me. It's gonna be super dramatic. Like I'm just trying to like stay in my lane. I mean, it was iconic. I'm not gonna lie, it was iconic. But it was wholly unnecessary, I think.
Yeah. No, it usually is a lot of backlash for the contestants that do that.
Huge.
But as a viewer, I love it. I was like, yes, crash the cocktail party. But
I know, and it's kind of like, I honestly didn't know it was gonna happen. Like, we were all just sitting around, and then all of a sudden, Shanae's not there anymore. And I'm like, oh, she was like crying earlier. She's probably just like being emotional.
Yeah.
No, she's getting ready for the cocktail party.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But that was the week you went home, right?
It was.
Yeah. So that
I was so pissed.
Yeah. How did that whole like cocktail party that night you went home, like what was that like for you?
So he comes in and we don't see Shanae all day. We don't see her all day, and then we see her at the cocktail party because we're like, this is like something is gonna go down. Obviously, the whole winning team is pissed because she crashed a cocktail party. The losing team is pissed because we didn't get to go, and you said that you deserve to be there. So like, we all have words for you. Like, let's talk this out. Yeah. He's gonna have to address it. So we knew from the start of the cocktail party it was gonna be messy. And then he came in and he talked to the winning team. And then I was like, okay, let's open this up. Shanae, like, I have some feelings about you, and I'm not going to be quiet about it because you really like screwed the pooch on this one. So we kind of knew going into it that it was going to be a bit of a fight. But I honestly thought Shanae was going to go home. I really did. And so when he called her name last, I was just like it was just a shot to the heart. And then I immediately was like, if he wants Shanae, I'm bye. Like I was hurt by it. I honestly was. Yeah.
And that was the night that she gives that apology to the whole group.
The apology.
When you watch it back and she's like, I'm not sorry at all. Like,
it's because I give you, I extend this like grace to you, and I'm like trusting you and I believe you. And then you totally crush all of that. Like, that's so incredibly rude to do to somebody. Like, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Yeah, that was really, and because I accepted the apology. I was like, as long as you change and as long as you realize why this is wrong, then we can continue. Like, I'm not going to be your best friend, but we can continue. And then she turned it right around, and I still didn't know. Like, when I left, I was like, I'm not really sure what to think about Shanae. And then after I watched all of that, I was like, wow, this was a bit insidious. Like, this was dark. So yeah, it was. That cocktail party was certainly a turning point. And then I left.
You left, and then you didn't have to deal with the drama anymore.
Right. And then I went home, and it was just like back to my regular life.
Yeah. Was that
all
weird?
This information.
Was that weird, like, just going back to normal life?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely strange because a lot of my friends had stayed. And so I was just constantly worrying about what was happening next and kind of like trying to predict what would happen, and then I've got all of this knowledge about what happened and can't tell. It's honestly, it can be an alienating experience. And I think that's why Bachelor Nation is like so strong, is because we went through something that like nobody will understand until you go through it. So the support from like everybody in Bachelor Nation has been like amazing. They're lovely.
That's awesome. Yeah, I guess I don't really think about like when you leave and your friends are still there. Like when they go home themselves or whatever, like, do you even have a way to contact them?
No, you don't.
Like social media, I guess, but
but like all of our Instagrams are private and everything. So it was and we like can't talk to anybody afterwards. So I was like desperately just like trying to like talk to my therapist, who was like, I don't watch The Bachelor. Or, like, it was definitely a strange experience for sure.
Were you following on like any of the spoiler websites trying to see like who was going far and what date was happening? Yeah,
I was. I was also shocked at how much people knew when I came out, because I had called my sister and I was like, long story, I just got kicked off. I'm coming from Houston. And she's like, oh yeah, I already know that you guys are in Houston. I was like, what? How do you know all of this? And so afterwards, seeing like all of the spoilers, I was like, you guys know actually a lot. So then I obviously, like, you want to know what's happening, I just have to be in the know. I can't have it be a surprise. So I was following some of the pages, but some of them were like, some of them were real, some of them weren't. And so it was interesting to kind of follow everyone else's journey through like reality.
Yeah, I know that. Did you see Peter Weber's season?
I didn't watch all of it, but I know like what happened.
There was I'm totally forgetting her name. Alea. She went home and then comes back, and she had looked at Reality Steve and she knew everything that was going on. I was like, that's crazy that you can even have all this knowledge when you come back. Like,
yes, and then like at the tell-all, I think someone like talked to Alea and they were like, it's because you went on Reddit. You came back because you went on Reddit. I was like, oh my God, like let's not shout out Reddit because that place can be dark.
I know.
Although you guys, they've been kind of nice to me lately, so keep it up.
Well, you definitely were somebody that was like fun to watch on the show.
Thank you.
Like I know I can speak for myself and my co-host Bracken. We love watching like the villains and the really funny people on the show. Like that is why we keep watching, because of the people who just are like make us laugh,
just unhinged,
make like comedy, like that's what we love. So you were definitely one of our favorites, and when you went home I was like, no, she was so funny.
Oh, I know. I feel like I had so much more to give too. Like I was honestly like in Houston, I was like turning things around. I was gaining confidence. I was like, okay, now I can just let this like freak flag fly and just like be myself and it'd be fine. And then they're like, boom, you're canned, you're gone. So that was really hard because I wanted people to be able to see my personality. I think like definitely after the show, people are like, oh my God, I didn't know that you were this person. Like they watch my TikTok, so they watch like whatever. They're like, oh my God, Jill's actually kind of someone. Oh my God, the funniest comment someone left They tagged their friend and said weird, quirky architectural historian Jill is actually cool online. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
In a weird way, like, thanks.
That's so funny. But you did come back and you did give us a lot at the Women Tell All.
I was giving.
You were giving.
I really tried, yeah, because I guess I was really fired up after seeing everything.
I'm sure.
I had a lot of words. And I also felt so I was hurt because I had given somebody, I extended grace where I shouldn't have. And I didn't realize that it was so that she wasn't going to like give as much into like that friendship or that like agreement as I was. So after seeing everything she said about us, I was just like, this is bad. So I feel like I had to stick up for myself. I did get a lot of heat from the tell-all saying that like I stooped to her level and all of that, but it was like, no, this was me standing up for myself, which I never do. And obviously I'm gonna add a little bit of like a razzle dazzle to it, because if you put me on TV, like that's your problem. Like what happens next is like not up to me.
It was a crazy Women Tell All.
It was so crazy. Like, would I ever call someone a broke ass Meryl Streep to their face? Like, probably not. I would say it behind your back, so you'd have to hear it twice. But like, no, that's so dark. But no, it was. I honestly, I didn't really leave the show with regrets at all.
That's good.
And so the tell-all was really, watching it back, it was definitely hard for me to watch, because we were kind of vicious. But at the same time, it was just a lot. It was like the product of a lot of like pent up emotions that we hadn't been able to share before.
Yeah. No, I get that. Like, it's probably, you come out of this crazy situation, get thrown back into real life, and then they throw you back in after you've watched it all. It's like, I can't even imagine like the kind of emotions, and like, we can sit here and be like, oh, they were so rude back to her and stuff, but like, I have no idea how I would react to that. Like, if I saw somebody saying these things about me, I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah. And I think a big thing, there's like two things that like I wish people would understand, is that like, one, we're not trained to be on TV. So yes, we say we say like, we say filler words, like we're not trained to be on TV. And the other thing is that we are, I guess everyone expects us to act normal in very abnormal situations.
Yeah.
And so if you've never been put into that situation, it's difficult to understand like how you might react. But yeah, it was that's like the two things that really I wish people would understand, is like, this is not normal, and I'm just like really trying my best to navigate this.
No, I know people can be really brutal online, and that's just like, there's no reason for that. Like, you guys are literally just TV figures.
I know, I wish I honestly need to grow thicker skin. I've definitely learned that throughout this process. I need to have a thicker skin, because like 2 comments will make me spiral. But it's not healthy.
Same way.
Yeah, you definitely just need to like take a break, touch grass for a little bit, and then come back and be like, oh, the internet's fake. Like, just tell yourself the internet's fake, and it'll all be fine.
Yeah. Well, there definitely was a lot of online hate this season, but towards Clayton at the end, were you aware of the situation that went down in Iceland, like maybe at the Women Tell All or before it aired? Like, did you have like an indication?
I knew it wasn't great.
Yeah.
I knew it was not great. I'm very close with Rachel, but she couldn't tell me what happened. She really didn't. So I knew just from her body language and from what, just the conversations that we were having, that it wasn't great. But I didn't know the manner in which everything occurred. And so watching it back was really, really hard. I'm not going to lie. It was definitely like, there was a lot of anger. There were tears. It was shocking to watch. But I don't think that I wasn't privy to that information before. Watching it back was really hard.
I bet, like, to see that happening to your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I will admit, I've watched a lot of Bachelor shows this was the most dramatic finale of all time that I've seen. I mean, I can't really speak for older.
Oh my God.
But I was like, this is crazy. And I watched Colton jump that fence and everything.
That was a nice
that was a crazy one, but I think this was crazier.
Yeah, it was and I know he's grown since then, but I'm like, Clayton, man, like, come on, dude. Like, I know that I think everyone should give him grace in that sense. But also, I think everyone is allowed to kind of like feel their feelings on it, because it kind of like, it could have been triggering for some people, or it could have, you know, like a lot of things that happened were definitely hard to watch, and people go through their emotions. But again, it was his journey, and I had to kind of respect that.
Yeah.
As much as I didn't want that for my friends, I knew that he was the Bachelor, and he had to make he made his bed, and he had to lie in it as well.
Yeah. Have you been able to talk to Susie since they've reconnected?
Not since they've reconnected. I had texted her a bit before, not knowing. I was treading very lightly. But I haven't been. I mean, I'm sure her phone is like blown up, and I think she just wants to like enjoy this time. So yeah, probably in a little bit after like the dust settles, then I'll reach out. I love Susie. Oh my God, like I can't say a bad thing about her. She is truly an angel on earth, and like I wish I could hate her so bad, because like, she's like Miss Virginia, and she's like this amazing person, and I'm like, I wish I was that. Like, but no, she is truly an angel.
Yeah, she seems super cool.
Oh,
truthfully, I've watched a lot of Bachelor shows, so I feel like I know what's gonna happen, and I was so convinced that Rachel was gonna win and Susie was gonna be the Bachelorette. But then the finale happens, and I'm like, who's gonna be the Bachelorette? It has to be Gabby or Rachel. Like, who else can they pick? And then like, it's both. Yeah, then it's both Gabby and Rachel. So how did you feel like getting that information as a viewer, knowing the two girls being really close to them?
Oh, I was so excited. Honestly, I was like, this is the best case scenario. Yeah. Because Susie ends up happy with Clayton, and then you guys get to go on your own journey together and find the love. So I feel like it warmed my heart so much. I was like, oh, there's justice in the world. Like I'm so happy for them. I'm so excited. I think it's gonna be really great. I think they're both like so ready and amazing women, and are gonna be able to support each other. And I have no doubt that they're going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that season. I've always wanted a double lead season. Like, I've always wanted that. And so when I said that, I was like literally screaming. I was watching it with Bracken, and he was like looking at me like I was crazy. But I was like, this is what I wanted.
I know. I was FaceTiming with some of Rachel's friends from home, and then like I'll be like Lindsay, and so we were because we were like, we have to see, because we didn't know if Rachel was going to be Bachelorette. So we were like we were just like waiting to see. And when it was both of them, it was like, because they said it's not going to be Rachel and it's not Gabby. We were like, what is happening? Yeah, so excited. I can't wait. And then like they teased that the guys that came out, and I was like trying to figure out who I was thinking it was going to be good for each of them. Oh my God, it's going to be fun. It's going to be good.
That I'm super excited for that. Would you say that like Rachel was your closest friend in the house?
Yeah, definitely in the house. Rachel's my closest friend. And then other like we were all very close, but like Rachel and I, like the flip kind of like switched, and we were like, okay, yes, like you're my best friend. But also I was really close with Hunter and Lindsay W in the house, and also like Tessa. And then now afterwards, like, oh my God. The friendships are like probably one of my favorite things coming out of this.
Yeah, I always love seeing like the after the season of how like the contestants really do band together, because you would think like in a normal life situation you would not want to be friends with the people who are dating the same person as you.
I know.
But you went through this crazy experience together that no one else understands.
Yeah, no one else understands it, and God, like it was really like a bond that will, like, I will always have love for people who have gone through this, and they're just like the best. Like when you're surrounded by like the best women, like you're gonna fall in love with all of them. They're amazing.
Yeah. Well, I know you mentioned that you looked at the men who came out for Gabby and Rachel. Are you looking for them, or are you looking maybe a little bit for yourself too?
No, I think everybody is kind of like, I know Marlena went on like this Twitter rampage of like, release the men, release the men.
Yeah.
I wasn't really looking for myself. I mean, like, I think it was mainly like, I want to see what's going on for Rachel and Gabby. Obviously, we know that some of these men could be potentially on Paradise or involved in like future endeavors. So I think curiosity is always there.
Yeah.
But I was definitely trying to figure out like who Rachel and Gabby were gonna, who I think they were gonna, or like who's gonna be the villain or who's gonna be the, you know?
Yeah. So do you have like, from just looking at their pictures, do you have any like ideas of who they'll be attracted to if they make it on the show?
Oh my god, yeah, sort of. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away because I feel like I have like I feel like I have special knowledge, of like who I think. But I know Rachel's type, and there's definitely some guys that are Rachel's type for sure. And I know Gabby's type too, and there are definitely guys. So I think they're gonna have like I don't envy them at all, you know, like having to cut all of these guys or having to explore, but it's gonna be interesting. I think they look great.
Yeah, I'm excited for this season for sure. But what my favorite Bachelor show is Bachelor in Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Could you potentially maybe be going to Mexico this summer?
I don't know. You're gonna have to wait and see. You're gonna have to see.
I hope so.
Paradise is I love Paradise as a viewer. Oh my god,
so good.
Yeah,
it's so messy.
It's so messy. We love it. We love it.
I love it.
But I don't know. You're gonna have to wait and see.
I would like that. I think you would be really good on Paradise. You seem like somebody who would thrive on the sand.
I would hope. I feel like it'd be interesting because it's not Clayton's journey. It would be like it's everyone's like individual journey.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of nice. It's definitely a model that I think would be better for me, like being able to have kind of autonomy of who I want to talk to, and you know. So I think it could be cool.
That would be super cool. If you do go, do you have like any past Bachelor Nation alum that you're hoping would be there with you?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I'm very much a vibes person.
Yeah.
Like because I've met people, I've been like, oh my god, I really want to meet this person, and I've met them, and I'm like, they are nothing but the sort. Like I do not like them. So I think I'm very open in that sense. Yeah. But there's obviously guys that I would like to see, but I have to keep my cards close to my chest.
Of course.
I've been telling them, I'm like, I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some guys that are very lovely.
Yeah, definitely. Some good ones that were on Michelle's season. And looking at this cast, I'm pretty excited. They look like, I saw there's twins.
I saw the twins, and they're from Connecticut. I'm like,
that's pretty close to you, you know?
Pretty close, yeah. I don't know about the twins. I feel like they could be trouble.
Yeah, there was twins on Ben Higgins' season, and they were
lovely.
They were pretty awesome. So I'm really
cool.
Fingers crossed. I'm like, oh, I hope it's like the boy version of the Ferguson twins.
I know. It's gonna be very interesting to see the person, because like honestly, even with like just seeing when they like previewed our cast, like the predictions that people thought like this person's gonna be like this person.
Yeah.
Also, you guys called me. Let me bring this up. You guys called me a Hooters waitress.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
You said I was a Hooters waitress, and I was like, I listened to it. I was like, a Hooters waitress.
That is a compliment because Hooters is one of my favorite restaurants. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, and what else did you say? You said that you were. I was gonna have like a really crazy Rhode Island accent, and I was like, I was giving Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Yeah, we love doing those.
It's
first impressions because it's like, obviously you're not going to be anything like that. Like we know we're 100% wrong.
It's so
fun to just like look at your pictures and be like, this is how they are, and then watch. Obviously, like it's all in love.
I was laughing. It was so funny.
Yeah, some of the other contestants, they DM'd us. They thought it was pretty funny.
Oh my god,
Bracken, he really likes to go for the
jugular,
the crazy crazy jobs and the crazy opinions and
Yeah,
anything.
for sure.
Sometimes this past one I made him look at the pictures before, so he said all the like crazy things before we recorded because
it was funny. I enjoy watching those because then it's like I know who is like, and they're always like you can never tell. You can't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
And so that's what I'm kind of worried about seeing these guys for their season. I'm like,
I know. I remember when we were doing it for Michelle's and looking at Clayton, and I never ever would have been like, oh, he's gonna be the Bachelor.
Yeah,
but Bracken and I were re-listening to that first impressions one we did of you guys, and when it got to Rachel, we were like, she looks like she could be a Bachelorette, and I was like screaming, I was like, we actually go.
Yes, but oh my god, yeah. Now you have to do one with their guys.
I know, we really want to. It's just like crazy timing. You started a new job this week, so
man. Yeah.
We're like, I'm trying not to look at all the pictures before we
really?
But I have looked at them all. But I'm trying not to like formulate opinions before.
Yeah, right.
It has to be organic.
It has to be organic.
Yeah. It's actually really funny. I know he called Sarah a paleontologist, but that could have been you.
Interesting.
You're not really a paleontologist though, but
no.
That would have been closer.
That would have been closer.
Than a Hooters waitress.
Closer than a Hooters waitress.
Sorry. And you're a vegan, so that is just so wrong.
It was wrong on so many levels.
So many levels.
I don't even have a rack. Yeah. That was so funny. No, I really like listening to those.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your perspective, your journey of the journey. And yes. I'm a fan. I hope we see you on Paradise.
Thank you.
I hope the men are every good vibe for you.
Yeah.
I hope there's drama, which I know there will be, but you know.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Have to see.
You should bring your cat to Paradise with you.
Oh, I would love to. Honestly, I think that's the only way I could make it through.
Yeah.
If I brought the cat.
I mean that'd be fun.
Just another contestant.
We need a Paradise pet.
I know, right? Oh, like a therapy animal or something.
For sure. You could get it like registered as an emotional support animal, and then they can't tell you no.
Oh my god, that's a good idea. Boop, boop, boop. That's what I do right after this.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jill. Can you tell our viewers where they can find you on social media, how they can see what you're up to?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. I believe it's _Jill Chen. And then you can find me on TikTok, and I believe it's Jill Chen _. So yeah, I think it's TikTok is kind of more the unhinged vibes. So I always fancy that. But yeah, you can find me there. Thank you.
Love that. Well, thank you again. And everyone, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at The Rosy Recap. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, and that's a wrap for this episode of The Rosy Recap.